Hey there, witches, and welcome to Moonstone Witchery, the podcast where we talk about witchcraft and spirituality in modern contexts. My name is Rian Luckard, and I am the head witch here at Moonstone Witchery, and I am so happy to be here with you today. You can find me all the places and all the ways by just looking up Moonstone Witchery. And I'm recently trying to get my Substack up and running, and I've been posting a lot of sky gossips over there. So if you'd like to hear the goss from the sky, then you know where to find me, because I will dish all of the things that are going on in the universe right now, and I will share them with you over there. Okay, let's chat. I'm here today because I want to talk about this idea of light worker versus light holder or light bearer. And to me, this topic sounds kind of like, I don't feel like listening to this right now. Because if you want to be like, Rian, the world is on fire. Like, why are we talking about this? And since when do you talk about light workers? That's fair. That's valid, friends. I hear you. And that's actually why I'm here. Because the world is on fire and everything's a nightmare. And why am I talking about this? Well, glad I asked. I'm talking about this because of a lot of reasons. So you've noticed an absence. I've been out for a few minutes. I have a lot to say on the why of that. And I will, I'm sure, say a lot on the why of that at some point. But part of the why has been like, it's depressing out here, you guys. Like, what is happening? I just want to shout out to all of us who are like, what are we doing incarnating during all of this? Like, we had COVID. We've had 2 terms of this lunacy at this point. Like, we just want to live. Like, we just want to be able to buy groceries and have some stability in our life. Like, I don't know about you, but whenever I was growing up, it was like, you guys can do anything. Just follow this pretty little path and you'll be able to go to college and have a house and a family and everything will be so nice. Like, we live in the greatest place ever. And now I'm like, what were you guys talking about? Like, no freaking way did any of that happen like the way you said it was going to. It's like this bubble has been burst around us and it happened along 10, 15 years ago. And we're still just trying to figure out what's going on. But as we're figuring out what's going on, everything's kind of low key, just falling to pieces more and more. And it's depressing. And it's sort of hard to continue, to keep picking yourself up every day and putting one foot in front of the other, because, we were told that there was a certain pathway laid out before us. And if we walked that pathway, we'd be all right. And it turns out that nobody has to listen to any rules whatsoever. And no pathways apply to the people who are in charge of everything. But we're supposed to have those pathways, and marginalized people have known forever that they can walk perfectly on that pathway and they're still going to get knocked over. It doesn't matter how perfect they are. And so it's just been a rough period of time. And that's partially one part of where I've been, is just kind of I hate it here. It's so disappointing. Sometimes my silence for periods of time is just from a place of just an abstract sense of disappointment in the world. And knowing there's really not much that can be done. And I don't say that to be disheartening to you. I have so many thoughts about so much of this, but I guess where I want to start is this idea that we kind of have to let dying things die. And this is a hard one, and I have written about this. Dying things are going to die. Dying things can't get out of dying. There's no ability to stop dying once the body or whatever it may be has begun to shut down. We can prolong it. We can put it off a little bit. Okay. We can tend to the symptoms, but dying things do die. And we're living in a cultural period where our society, as it has always been, is dying. The structures that create this culture that we're in, the structures that uphold this world, they on their way out. You know, it's like the boomers are moving, you know, gracefully or not, out of the realm of relevancy, and with it they're taking this like old-fashioned, outdated way of being, and it's going. But things may die sometimes as they lived. And this culture that we're in, this hasn't been a peaceful, friendly, like inclusive and kind culture. This hasn't been a quiet, like demure, like sweetheart of a world. This has been like a male-dominated, violent, oppressive, lying, cheating, scheming, money-grabbing, superficial, patriarchal, misogynistic, racist, ableist, like homophobic motherfucker of a culture. So it's gonna die with those themes. And something that doesn't want to die will really fight against its own death. It's going to use the energy that it has left within itself to push back, and to push back really hard. And that is what we're living in right now. You might hear Pumpkin snoring next to me. I'm sorry about that. He's a little old man. That's what's going on here. It is thrashing its way off of the main stage, this culture that we're in. And it's doing it in the way that it lived. It's violent, it's vile, it's lying, it's cheating, it's scheming, it's abusing, it's exploding, it's imploding, it's getting like nasty gook on everything. It is personified. Right now, the leader of this culture is the personification. Literally, can't make this shit up. He's like the human embodiment of absolutely everything that is vile and disgusting and terrible about our culture. All wrapped up into one ugly, orange, pig-shaped package. It's poetry. And you know, they say some of the best art is grotesque. It makes you feel disgusted. And so in that way, this is a masterpiece, right? This is gross. It's gross. But I don't want us to be surprised. And one of the things I really want to speak on is like, not only do I not want us to be surprised, I don't want us to be like sucked into some pit where we think that... I'm going to choose my words carefully here. I don't want us sucked into some place where we think that we can really do much about this. And I want to just pause and give you a hug when I say that. Because one of the other reasons I haven't been recording here is I know what people want from me, but I know what I know to be so. And there's a division there, and I'm sorry about it. People want for me to know, what do we do? How do we make this stop? How do we get it? How do we impact it? How do we stop it? And then the version of me who has been in spiritual training, spiritual study, philosophy student, for forever. Also psychic channel. Like, I've checked in with all the pieces, guys. That part of me knows you must let dying things die. You cannot really influence that trajectory too much. And I know this is an unacceptable answer to a lot of people. So I really haven't completely clearly said this yet. But we have to let dying things die. And I've been talking about the egregore of it all. Like, there's this whole world of people who have opted into this chaos with their special colored hats, okay, and their little rallies and their flags. They are feeding what is left of this culture. They're like doing CPR on the bitch. They're trying to keep it alive. And they're the ones who have to get the clue here. They are the ones who are going to have things explode in their faces the most. And when that bubble bursts, that's when the thing will die. But those of us from the outside in who can already see this is an atrocity. This world is crazy. All of this is terrible. Nothing makes any sense. How can this be happening? We have that point of view because we're not a part of it anymore. Because at some point already, we looked at the culture, we looked at the world, and we were like, ew, what is this? We can't be a part of this. We got to do our own thing. And 10, 15 years ago, that looked like making your life belong to yourself. That looked like, well, I'm going to start my own business, even though I'm supposed to use my college degree. Or for me, it was like, I'm going to be this raging lesbian psychic witch, and I don't give a flying whatever anymore. I'm going to just be me. I'm going to break the cultural norms. I'm going to do my own thing. We each had our own moment where it was like, I don't have to be the thing they told me that I have to be. I'm going to be me. I'm going to do my thing. So when we had those moments in our own personal lives, that was us breaking away from the egregore of it all, breaking away from the cultural norm, breaking away from the collective lie that we were all taught to live within. And so when we broke away, we were less susceptible to the hypnotic entrancement of the giant orange pig baby who has preyed upon the people who never broke away from that story. And he's inflated it and inflated it and inflated it. He's got like this big tire pump, and he keeps tire pumping it up, pump, 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 pump. But you know it bursts eventually when you just keep on pumping that damn tire. Can only hold so much. And this thing is going to burst. It's bursting. It's dying, friends. Like, no doubt about it. But it's gonna seem worse before you know it's actually getting better. And as a spiritual person, I have known there are times to be involved and there are times to wait. Waiting feels passive. Waiting feels hard. Waiting feels painful. Waiting for so many of you feels like shame. It feels like not being good enough. It feels like not doing enough. It feels like guilt. It feels like just sitting around and letting things pass you by or letting atrocities happen as if you're the one doing them. This is the thing that's happening for a lot of my clients even. They're like, I feel horrible all the time because I'm not doing more. And I want to be like, you didn't start this, boo. Like, you didn't create this, friend. What makes you think you can stop something that you did not start or create and that you're not even participating in anymore? You know, I don't know if you've ever been around a person that you didn't really like. Maybe a family member who's just out of pocket all the damn time. If you're around them and they're running their mouth at some type of an event, do you feel bad about what they're saying? Do you feel responsible for what they're saying and how they're being? And you might. And if you do, this is a point of self-work for you. Because the truth is, like, you're not speaking. You're not them. You're not in their throat choosing their words. You aren't them. You can't be responsible for stopping it because you didn't start it. You didn't initiate it. Now, that doesn't mean we haven't participated in the damage, the harm, the bad things of our culture. And those are the places where you can do some self-work. Those are the places that we all have to do self-work. And a lot of that actually starts with forgiving ourselves. Like, I had to do forgiveness work for myself, for the ways that I participated in the culture and the ways that I beat myself up for not being a part of that arbitrary cultural system that told me I was supposed to be one thing and then I wasn't. We all have to work on our internalized racism, homophobia, and ableism, our own internalized misogyny. We all have to work on those things because they do exist. You can't have been raised here in this crazy bananas shit show of a culture and not have picked up some of that stuff. It doesn't make you evil. It just means that you've caught some of the germs and you need to take the medicine. And the medicine is like self-work, self-forgiveness, doing differently. But you aren't able to stop this huge, gigantic, spiral out tantrum of harm that is happening because it is being fueled by its participants. It is being created by its participants. And yes, it's getting all over the rest of us. It's harming us. They're doing bad things. And those bad things are harmful, legitimately terrible. They do need to be stopped. But we don't stop them when we come from a place of panic, guilt, fear, and doubt. We don't stop them by turning over our empowerment. And what I'm witnessing in people is a lot of turning over of empowerment. And I've been trying to write on this. I've been trying to post things and videos and all kinds of things about this because the distinction is so hard for me to clarify and make super clear, but it's really important. You have to come from a place of feeling correct, of knowing you're right. You have to come from a place not of fear or guilt. Pumpkin, I need you to stop snoring. You have to come from a place of really knowing that this shit is bananas and wrong, and standing up for the fact that you're going to go ahead and not allow this to continue to happen in your house. What I want you to do is to think about the fact that, like, if you are hosting something in your house and you've got like these wild 7-year-old kids running around and you just mopped all the floors and they just ran in and they're gonna get your floors all muddy and they're gonna knock a bunch of things over, you're gonna be like, hey, shoes off, go upstairs, go make your rooms crazy messy. I'm having people over. Like, don't do that here. Because you are in charge and you're not going to allow them to just literally bring chaos all over your space because you just cleaned it up and you know it needs to be handled. Another way of looking at this is like, if my son is like having some type of conniption fit because he's a teenager and he doesn't like what I'm saying, but he's starting to get a little mean, I will say to him, what I'm going to ask you to do is stop speaking right now and think about your words very carefully, or just take a break and go somewhere else and we can talk when you're more calm. The reason I do that is because I love him. I love him so much. I am not going to allow him to speak in a way that dishonors himself. Even if what he's going to say is mean to me, I'm not going to allow him to speak in a way that is not in alignment with whoever he's supposed to be or whoever he actually is. Sometimes unconditional love looks like boundaries, looks like protecting someone from themselves even. It looks like keeping someone safe from being a version of themselves that they're not really. It looks like keeping someone safe from being a version of themselves that exists only in the impulse of a heightened emotion at that time. This is what boundaries can help us do. It's protecting ourselves from being subjected to someone being out of character or someone being, holding, having, exhibiting an energy that is not themselves. It's holding a standard for the energy that's allowed to be in our space. And so when we do this, we are acting from love. And we are acting from what we know is appropriate, and we are acting from boundaries, and we are acting from an energy field that is correct and aligned with what we've decided we want our life to be. Take it back to the world we're in right now. The world we're in right now is not in alignment with any of that. It's not in alignment with anything we think is right or okay or good or what we want. And so a lot of the impulse that I'm witnessing people have right now is to panic and to feel shame and to feel guilt and to feel a lot of bad things. When in reality, they didn't cause any of this. They have already had their wake-up moment. They have already stopped participating in a lot of this. So the guilt of it all, that you're not doing enough, is wasted energy. And I'm just going to call it out, and I'm just going to tell you that. Spiraling into guilt, spiraling into fear, spiraling into panic. It's not only wasted energy, but it's actually feeding what you don't want to be fed. It's making that bigger. It's making you smaller, and it's making the thing you don't want bigger. Because that side of the fence is eating up negative energy. It's made of negative energy. Things attract what they are. And so this thing is made of hateful, terrible, disenfranchising, disempowerment energy. It's made of the worst possible negativity that there is. And so when we allow ourselves to become corrupted by that negativity, when we allow ourselves to spiral into some dark, terrible place within ourselves, when we allow our anxiety to become so loud, our depression to become so overwhelming, our negative self-thoughts, our negative feelings, our apathy even to grow exponentially, when we allow the defeated energy to feast upon us, we are feeding ourselves to them. Because that is what they are made of. That is what they want. They're going around harming as much as they can because they're trying to disenfranchise everyone and everything. They're trying to suck all of the positive energy out of all of the positive places in this world. And as they do that, they get bigger and more powerful. And then when we allow ourselves to become so disheartened, so broken down by witnessing this, and when we self-feed it, we start to feed into it ourselves by hating ourselves, by being mean to ourselves, by feeling guilt and shame and remorse and lack and all these bad things. We're feeding that energy. We're feeding them. We're giving it to them willingly. We're handing it right over. And so this is the moment where I look at you just like I would my son and I say, I'm going to stop you right there. I want you to think about what you're doing in this moment. Are you acting in alignment with your own character? Are you being yourself right now? Are you being your truest self? Are you behaving in alignment with you? Or are you acting out of fear or anger or shame or guilt? Are your negative shadow emotions in charge of you right now? Do we ever grasp a hold of empowerment and a better life when we behave from our negative shadow emotions? We do not. And so while I understand the impulse to scream into the void, the impulse to fight against this in whatever way you can with hatred and sadness and panic and justified depression and anxiety and spiraling, the spiraling of it all, I understand it. But it's not serving the bigger picture. It's not serving the greater cause. Going to protests, very helpful. If you are called to that work, do it. Panic spiraling in your home for too long, there's always a place and time, but for too long, left unchecked, is not doing anyone any favors, least of all you, but also least of all us. The greatest defiance, the greatest action you can take right now is to come from a centered, grounded, empowered place. If something is out here trying to steal your empowerment from you, the best protest you can have is to remain empowered. Can you see that this thing is trying to eat all of the joy, the happiness, the safety, the security? It's trying to eat everyone who is different and okay with that. Everyone who is themselves and okay with that. Everyone who is empowered and okay with that. Everyone who has a sense of who they are and is okay with it. It's trying to eat that. It's trying to eat those people. This is a vampire. It is going around trying to suck out all of the positive energy that people are carrying, holding, embodying, living, whatever. Can you see that if there is a monster that wants to eat all of the good energy, that you feed that monster when you become like it and you take away all of your good energy? This is a monster that turns good energy into bad things. So when you take all of your goodness and become very low and spirally and triggered and depressed and change who you are on a day-to-day basis as a result of that, can you see that you are contributing to that? And I'm not saying this to make you feel bad. I'm trying to help you see this very clearly. The energy is not judging. It is aligning. A negative energy machine is over there pumping out negative energy. The best thing that you can do to resist it is to be made of positive energy. The more you break yourself down and create more negative energy, the more that negative energy feeds the negative energy machine. The more you build yourself up and create positive energy, the more that you are bigger and more strong and more powerful up against and in the face of that negative energy. It is a radical act of defiance to not succumb to the depression of this time. It is a radical act of defiance to not lose yourself in the stress, panic, weakness, chaos, sadness, whatever, disenfranchisement of this era. It is a radical act of defiance to remain you in this time period. And you must do it. Because I know over the past, 20 years, people have been calling themselves light workers. And you all know, maybe I've talked about this before, or maybe I've been gentle about it, but whatever. And it's, light workers is fine. That's a nice term. Okay. I don't necessarily think that it fully encapsulates it though, because I think we're here to be light bearers, not necessarily light workers, at least in the right now of it. In the right now of it, we're light bearers. We're light holders. We are protectors of light. As this culture dies, it will be a big, fiery, messy, hostile, gross death. And it already is. It's going to be gross. It is our job, those of us who can see that this world hasn't been it, ain't it, was never it, needs to change. Those of us who have been knowing that, it is our job to be the fire keepers, the light protectors. We have to put this light of what the world could be, of what a celebration of individuality is, of what equity, the collective unity, universal love, acceptance, celebration of others. We have to take the light of those things and put it in a bottle and tuck that bottle very securely somewhere deep in a pocket in our cloak, or shove it in your bra, or hold it close to your chest, or whatever the hell it is that you got to do, and protect it. Because while this world falls apart, and so many people do give themselves over to the despair, that light is in danger, friends. We're here now to protect that light, to keep that love alive, to keep that knowing of what could be, of what the purpose here is, of what unity feels like, of what accepting each other feels like, of what making room for everybody is, of what knowing there's enough for all of us, we have to protect that. Because this is the death of a scarcity mindset, and it is going to expand before it collapses. And in its expansion, there will be collateral damage. And some of that collateral damage will be people forgetting what they used to know. And what they used to know is that it is possible for everyone to have a seat at the table. It is possible for everyone to be worthy and accepted. It is possible for everyone to be loved and connected to. It is possible for everyone to be seen. It is possible for everyone to have a role in a community that lights them up and fulfills who they are. It is possible for all of us to belong. It is possible for all of us to have a place. It is possible for all of us to be worthy and valuable. It is possible for every single person to give and receive enough love, more than enough. It is possible for people to grow up without damage done to them. All of these things are possible. We know that. Some people are going to forget that. So if you've ever considered yourself a spiritually connected person, a light worker, a healer, gifted, a psychic, a channel, whatever, you are here to hold that and keep it safe during this transitional period. Death is always a transition. And in transitions, things get lost or reshuffled. When you move from one house to another house, things can get lost along the way. We will not lose our knowing. We cannot lose ourselves and our knowing. We must anchor in right now, friends, to holding and keeping safe the flames of that knowing, that lightness, that brightness, that love, that connection, that empowered energy. We have to stoke that fire. The way you keep it alive, loves, is by breathing it in and through you, by living it. I need you to defiantly live from a place of joy, of groundedness, of connecting with others, of laughter, authentic laughter. I need you to defiantly hold connection alive in your spirit, in your body, in your actions, in your words. I need you to not turn over your idealism, your hope, your strength, your purpose. I need you to not give away your perspective. Ask yourself this: am I intaking or am I putting out? Am I intaking their truth and letting it dissolve me? Or am I putting out my truth and refusing to let it be corrupted by some chaos? Am I loving myself enough to be like, hang on, I'm not going to act out of character because I know who I am? And while I might not be able to stop this train that is rapidly rolling off the tracks ahead, I can know that I will be okay. And I'm going to make sure that after that train crashes, I'm going to help everyone left be okay too, because that's the point, guys. We're light bearers. We're light holders, because on the other side of this, someone has to rebuild this. Someone has to pick this up again and put it back in place. That someone is you, it's me, it's us. But if we become so corrupted and broken down by the things that are happening now, we will not be able to put those pieces back together. We will have lost ourselves. We will have lost those pieces. It is our job to hold the light and the perspective. We have to start focusing on maintaining the energy that we want and keeping it alive within ourselves. You have to. And that's not to say don't fight against this. Go to your rallies, go to your protests, write your letters, make your phone calls, write your posts, rant your rants, make your hilarious memes, but do it from a place of being correct, not from being broken down and torn to shreds by what's happening around you. comment and talk to and participate in from a place of who you truly are. And who you truly are is connected to that source energy of everything that is. This chaos is a lack of control. It's a gigantic temper tantrum. It's a cultural size temper tantrum. It is causing damage. But you cannot be damaged. Decide it. Say it. I cannot be damaged by this. That is how we get through this. That is what our job is. It's not to stop a dying thing from dying. It is to hold a space while the dying dies. It is to hold a place for a better future, a better now, a better reality. It is to not let the light of everything we know that is right and good and everything that we know is possible and everything we want to become this world. It is to not let that extinguish itself amidst the chaos of all of this. Keep that light, put it in a bottle, hide it somewhere on your person. Let it be alive within you. This is your act of protest. If they say, I don't think you should exist, the greatest protest you have is to continue existing. Martin Luther King Jr., great example of this. That man, they would just go sit in a place that they were told they weren't allowed to be. They just sat there. Do you know how loud and powerful that is? We don't want you in this space. I'm just going to sit here then because I have a right to exist. That is so powerful. They don't want me. They don't want a lesbian witch with a loud mouth and a sassy attitude to exist. Well, I'm just going to keep on sitting here then, exactly as I am. I'm going to keep existing. That is a protest. I am not going to lose my joy, my light, my spark, my creativity, my communities, my friendships, my happiness. I'm not going to let y'all take that. Temper tantrums have a way of wearing themselves out. Whenever my kids were little, if they were throwing a temper tantrum, I would make sure the room was safe, right? Because they're little. And then I would go, I will see you when this is over and I'll give you a hug. But I would remove myself from the room because a temper tantrum is a little mini tornado and it's going to wear itself out and you can't stop it. Have you ever tried to reason with an enraged person? They can't hear you. Wait the storm out. Hold the light. Keep it safe. Do your work for yourself, for your future, for your family, for everybody. Do your protection spells. Do your positive energy spells. Throw some FAFO onto the flame. You can do that, but hold a space for what is next. Do not let them darken you, dampen your spirit, take you out. That's what you're here for. You're here to guard, guide, protect, and keep safe all of the goodness that there is in this world, all of the things that you found within yourself at some point before all of this really began. You got to keep that safe, my friends. That is our protest. That is how we fight back. That is our purpose in this right now. I'm glad to be back here with you guys. I've missed you and I love you, and I will be back again soon.